more worried about cold butt. That's to bring the heated.
Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that. What do you say? What do you know? It's the Full Monty Sports Show. It is Saturday, Christmas Eve day, December 22nd, December 24th, 2022. I am your host, Monte Perez, a.k.a. The Sports Whisperer. Yes, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. We hope everyone has a safe, happy, and healthy Christmas season. It is crazy. You know, you try to just get through Christmas Eve to New Year's every year, and it seems like it just flies by. Want to thank everyone for all the birthday wishes yesterday. Thank everyone for all the birthday wishes. Make sure to follow me on social media, on Twitter, MontyJP231, on TikTok, Monty Perez 231, and Simply Monty Perez on Facebook. Simply Monty Perez on Facebook. We are doing so well on Facebook Reels. We have, I think, over 6 million views between TikTok and Facebook Reels. Facebook Reels, I've had over 3 million views pretty much in the last 2 weeks. So thank you for joining us. Brad Ward, the contributor to the OBR and All Eyes on Cleveland podcast, will join us. And Amarie might make a special appearance. She's running around trying to get us involved in her Christmas Eve celebration. Hopefully she'll join us in a few minutes. So what we're going to do, normally we start the show with the good, the bad, and the funny. We're not going to do that since they are coming on in a few minutes. We're just going to talk a couple topics and then break down the games. And then at the end of the show, you do not want to miss my good, bad, and funny. All right, let's start with this. So one of the things that really bothers me as a former coach, a successful coach, is when the best player continues to beat you. My brother Pete always says, if a baseball batter hits 2 home runs and then he hits the 3rd run off you, shame on you. Why are you throwing to that guy? Why? Same thing with football, same thing with basketball. At the end of a game, you do not want the best player beating you. For example, last night, Shea Alexander, the superstar guard from Oklahoma City Thunder, they're playing New Orleans Pelicans, and the last play of regulation, he doesn't even touch the ball. The Pelicans denied him. They go to overtime. Oklahoma City Thunder wind up losing. So last night, everyone's been talking about the Knicks. Everyone's coming at me. Oh, Monty, the Knicks you're wrong about Thibodeau. No, I'm not. I am not wrong about Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau is what he is, a defensive-minded coach who's not that good. So the Knicks, Jalen Brunson misses free throws, and the game, they're down by a basket, Chicago here. And during the timeout, I call my friend Andrea, and I tell her they're going to go to DeMar DeRozan here. They're going to go to DeRozan. Now, as a coach, I know they're going to DeRozan, so you got to stop that, right? So I recorded this live. What I try to do now is record games at the end, 4th down and 8, 4th and goal. So I record it live so that you could get my live reaction. So again, I just had this conversation on the phone with my friend Andrea before this play happened. Let's go to the videotape. I get a stop, watch DeRozan, mid-range game, watch him pump faking and getting a foul. Dude, how does DeRozan get the ball that easy? DeRozan, he's going to pull for the mid-range. Come on. And they fouled him. Come on, Thibodeau. If I called this play, I've seen the Bulls run this play for DeRozan a million times down the stretch. How does he not take the ball out of his hands, and how do you foul him? Wow. I mean, look, you know DeRozan's not going to shoot the 3. That's his game, mid-range, and he hit. I mean, just a horrible job by Tom Thibodeau. And again, he's supposed to be a defensive-minded coach. I saw this when they played the Hawks, and the Hawks had the ball. They were trailing. What does he do? He brings in Frank Ntilikina, a guy who didn't play all game to guard Trae Young. Trae Young drives to the basket, scores. Hawks win the series. Hawks win the game. Tom Thibodeau, when you need him most, fails. Again, how do you let DeRozan get his shot without even making it difficult to him is beyond frustrating as a former coach. And all you Knicks fans out there who because they won 8 in a row, think that, oh, the Knicks are back, stop it. All right, so I am 140-64 picking NFL games, 140-64 picking NFL games. Let's get right to it. All right, the Atlanta Hawks 5-9. They're taking on the 9-5 Ravens. I don't care if the Ravens play Huntley. I don't care if they play Lamar Jackson. The Falcons are terrible. All they do is run the ball. Now, look, they are good at running the ball, but other than that, Desmond Ridder came off the bench. They named him the starter, replacing Marcus Mariota, who's no longer with the team, getting surgery. Mariota no longer playing, but Desmond Ridder coming off a bye week threw for 95 yards. I expect this game to be an ugly matchup, but I'm taking the Ravens here, 27-17. Gardner Minshew, a.k.a. White Goodman, will be starting for the 13-1 Eagles at the 10-4 Cowboys. 13-1 Eagles at the 10-4 Cowboys. There's no Jalen Hurts today. Dallas has been waiting for this game all year long. They're at home. This is going to be a game that is going to be physical. Now, if Jalen Hurts was starting, I would obviously have them winning this game. I think they're the best team in the NFC, and I do like San Francisco, but remember, they're starting a rookie quarterback, Brock Purdy, and we'll get more into that later. So the conventional wisdom is that Dallas is going to dominate this game and Gardner Minshew is going to throw interceptions and look like the career backup part-time starter that he is. But I'm going with the upset here. I think the Eagles are that talented, and I think White Goodman, a.k.a. Gardner Minshew, wins this game in an upset, 30-27. I think he's going to play well. Okay, let's move to the Cincinnati Bengals, 10-4 at the 7-7 Patriots. I've been saying this since midway through the year here. The Bengals are the best team in the AFC. The Patriots had a heartbreaking loss last week to the Raiders. Let's go to the videotape. That play may have knocked the Patriots out of the playoffs. They lose today against a good Cincinnati Bengal team. It'll be close, but Joe Burrow, like he did last week, will pull away in the second half. Take the Bengals here, 27-20. Okay, listen, there's a lot of games here that you really just don't know if teams are just playing out their string. Are they going to play hard? Bills got lucky here, right? The Bills got lucky. They're going to play in a blizzard, but they're playing the 3-11 Bears. So I don't expect much. I'm taking the Bills here, 23-16. Look for Josh Allen to run for about 70, 80 yards. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. I am taking the Bills here in the win. Obviously, Bears just playing out their strength. This is a great picture right here. I mean, if this doesn't say it all, the Bills have numerous guys who could come at you, and Justin Fields is a one-man show in Chicago. I love this picture. I really do. Okay, 7-7 Lions at the 5-9 Panthers. My friend Andrea's son, Jonathan, is a die-hard Lions fan, and he said he was so nervous for this game. I would be nervous too. This is the game that the Lions traditionally lose. You think that they have everything going for them. They're expected to win, and then they break your heart. It's what the Lions do. It's what the Jets do. It's what bad organizations do. But Carolina, again, we've said this numerous times. They fired their coach. They traded Baker Mayfield, their starter, who's now with the Rams. They traded Christian McCaffrey, their starting running back. There's no way in hell that this game should even be competitive. I know Lion fans are worried. I know they're filled with anxiety. But you're going to win this game, and you're going to win it pretty easily, 33-20. Okay, Seattle Seahawks, look, we started to get the Geno Smith has come back to life. And why is that? Well, you know what? They have a ton of tape on him now. He's still playing well, but he's not an MVP candidate like he was through the first 8 seasons. But let's be honest. Denver totally blew this trade when they traded Russell Wilson and Seattle got all those draft picks and players, and Geno Smith is going to be the starter next year. But the Chiefs are battling for home field throughout the AFC. Remember, only one team gets a bye this year. Only one team gets the bye. I like the Chiefs here, 31-21. 1-12-1 Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. 1-12-1 Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. Let's be honest. If Tennessee loses this game, they're done. Because they got to play the Cowboys and the Jags in their remaining games. So, I like this Tennessee team to win, but I like the Jags to make the playoffs, not Tennessee. I like the Jags to make the playoffs. Yeah, well, same thing, right? I mean, they gave up with Baker Mayfield. So let's get back to this Texans team. I think they're going to win, but they are in trouble of making the postseason. Look for Derrick Henry to rush for about 150 yards. And they win an ugly game, 23-16. 7-6-1, Commanders at the 10-4 49ers. We said this a few times about quarterback Brock Purdy, the rookie. He's playing well, but there was a reason he was deemed Mr. Irrelevant. If you don't know what Mr. Irrelevant is, that means you're the last player taken in the NFL draft. That was Brock Purdy. He's the last player taken in the NFL draft. Washington defense is good. Washington has a ton of skilled players on offense. The problem is Taylor Heinicke is just a backup, and he's a starter now. This is a game where your quarterback should make a big play. I don't know if he could do that. I think the 49ers win here, but Brock Purdy is going to start taking steps backwards. Yes, he has a ton of talent around him, but again, there was a reason he was the last player drafted in the NFL. Okay, let's move to the Raiders at the Steelers. Listen, it is going to be hard as hell for the Raiders to win this game because Franco Harris just died, the legendary running back for the Steelers. They are honoring him today. Mike Tomlin has never lost. Never had a losing record in his years of coaching. He has a chance to go 8-8. Listen, emotionally, it's going to be crazy in Pittsburgh. This is going to be a hard game for the Raiders to win. But I'm going to take the Raiders here, despite all the emotional fanfare. Raiders win 23-20. On Sunday, the 6-8 Packers at the 8-6 Dolphins. I wrote about this in Team MBS, and one of the things that's really impressive is that when you look at this matchup this week, right, what do the Packers do well? They run the ball with their dual threat running back, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. What do the Dolphins do well? They pass the ball. Well, the Packers defense is top 10 in stopping the pass. They're second, I believe. And the Dolphins are top 10 in stopping the run. So this is going to be a chess match. But I just think that Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle make a play late, and they win this game in a high-scoring affair, 31-27. Take the Dolphins to knock the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs on Christmas Day. 4-10 Broncos at the 4-10 Rams. No one really cares about this game outside of LA or Denver. So I'm going to take the Broncos 2017. Broncos 2017. And then we have the Bucks 6-8 at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are just playing out their string. I believe Cliff Kingsbury is going to be fired. I believe Todd Bowles should be fired. I saw Todd Bowles do this in New York. Just not a head coach. Sorry, Tampa. You're going to win this game, but I think both coaches get fired. Take Tampa here, 27-23. And finally, Monday night, the 8-6 Chargers take on the 4-9-1 Colts. The Chargers should win this game by just showing up. I know you say that, and, any given Sunday, any given Monday, blah, blah, blah. The emotional loss that the Colts had last week after being up 33-0, losing to the Vikings, you're not going to recover from that. Especially since you don't have an elite quarterback and your head coach literally came out of the broadcast booth 2 months ago. Take the Chargers here, 24-20. Okay, I'm 140-64 picking NFL games, 140-64 picking NFL games. When we come back, Brad Ward and maybe Amarie's going to join us. Again, I want to wish everyone a Merry, Merry Christmas. And again, I want to thank everyone for wishing me a happy birthday yesterday. Really appreciate all the texts, all the hits on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you so much. You're watching the Full Monty Sports Show live on YouTube.
We are here shooting Remova's latest campaign. I'm happy to be a part of such a great brand, and looking forward to seeing what's in store. I just love the luggage. I love the quality of it. I love the style of it. It just feels fitting, to my travel. Travel has helped me grow as a person. I've been able to go all over the world and see so many different walks of life, so many different regions in this world, so many different places, and experience so many different cultures and things of that nature. So, that's definitely made me become a better person myself, because just being able to see the world and appreciating different cities, different countries, and what they bring to the table. I think I've been so successful playing on the road in my career is just a sense of calmness for me. I love the adversity and being able to go on someone else's floor where they're most comfortable at, and being able to try to defeat them there.
East Coast Covers, creator of the Smart Commuter Cover, designs and manufactures custom American handmade quality products. It is the only cover with an adjustable 4-toggle lock-in cord system, which lets you create the fit you want without the need for additional tie-downs. The cover conveniently self-stores when pulled into the attached backpack, and also provides a pocket for storing small belongings. Nearly 42 years of riding experience are behind every design, with a cover for whatever two wheels you ride.
All right, let's bring him on. You know him as a contributor to the OBR and host, producer, All Eyes on Cleveland. Brad Ward, how are you today?
I'm good. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I apologize. I missed it. I didn't know. But happy belated birthday and Merry Christmas to everybody that watches this, everybody in chat, Team MBS, and of course you, Monty.
Thank you, Brad. I just assumed you got me the same thing you got me last year. So thank you for that for my birthday present. I appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was nothing. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
I did.
All right,
That's
Brad. Amarie may join us. We're not sure. She's running around. Hopefully she will. First off, Brad, I want to talk about the matchup this weekend. Obviously you guys are still mathematically involved. You're going up against a quarterback, and Andy Dalton, who you guys know. He's actually playing. He's not playing bad, Brad. You think Andy Dalton. He's completing 66% of his passes. They will not have their stud Chris Olave wide receiver today. 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, manning the game at times. Are you shocked that he's still the starter?
A little bit, just because I feel like they would have at some point wanted to see what they had in Winston.
Right.
Andy Dalton's not the long-term solution for anything, right? But he has played well at times for stretches. Like you get good, bad Dalton, and then you'll get like 2 or 3 good Daltons. But his numbers are pretty good for the most part. And it's interesting. He's played in a lot of these games. He spent, I think, over 10 years with the Bengals. He's played in a lot of these cold weather games like this. Now, when we're talking cold weather game here, Monty, we're talking like an all-timer. Like this is an all-timer today at 1 p.m. up in Cleveland. This is it's hard to find one this cold on record with the kind of winds they're going to be getting.
You bring up a great point, Brad, and I know you do DraftKings and FanDuel and all our fans out there. I'm not taking any wide receiver today that's not playing indoors unless they're playing down south. Right? Is that a fair assessment?
I didn't either. At least I shied away. I think maybe the only exception to that, I was trying to think of what exception I made. I made one exception to that. I forget who it was. No, I didn't make an exception. I looked towards the games like the Washington at San Francisco game.
Right.
The Minnesota game, right? those kinds of games. Now, this is just going to be tough moving the ball in general, I think. So we're talking 1 p.m. Wind chill of -20.
That's unbelievable.
Steady wind gusts of 30 miles per hour southwest with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour, man. So, you may see teams try to throw the ball. Like, I think I talked about this yesterday. There should be like a feeling out phase, right? Where's the wind coming from? Or is there a way we're going where we have the wind at our back? And when we do, can we work the short pass game and maybe take a shot here or there? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to adjust. Like, honestly, it's a lot of like who's going to determine who wins this game is who actually wants to be out there enough.
Right.
Like, everything stings. Everything hurts. Catching the ball hurts. Tackles hurt worse than ever. So you really got to care today and want to be out there.
And I would think, Brad, that one of the things that teams are going to do as we'll bring all sorts of holiday backgrounds up there is tight ends over the middle should have a field day where speedy wide receivers down the end in this cold wind, they're not going to be running their routes down the sideline, correct? Too much wind.
I wouldn't think so. I can't imagine them throwing the ball. Like I said, it all depends. Like, if you get a crosswind, it's really going to take away all the passing game, really,
right.
Unless it's really short stuff, screens, whatnot. I think you'll see a good deal of Chubb and Watson running the ball, Hunt running the ball, and then the same thing from them. They're going to use Taysom Hill like crazy. I bet you he gets his most snaps of the year.
Greg just taking a random shot at you right now because he's a Toronto Raptors fan. Saying that the Cavs should be accepted 0-3. Greg, I guess you got to take wins when you get it because the Raptors are struggling around 500.
Yeah, man, they don't match up well with the Raptors. They did not look good last night, but they did just beat the Bucks the other night.
And not just beat the Bucks, dominated them.
Yeah, handily. So they've been looking really good. Other than your Raptors for that,
and we'll get to that again. All right, Brad. My friend Bill wanted me to ask you this question, and he brought up a good point. He said you have two dominant running backs. You have good running backs, right? Chubb, obviously Hunt. You use other guys, but he said, do you have a number one wide receiver moving forward? You have guys in Peoples-Jones and Amari Cooper, 57 and 67 catches respectively. But is that enough to make a deep playoff run? Because I don't know if Amari Cooper's a legitimate number one wide receiver. Is that fair?
I think Amari Cooper's a number one. You don't think he's a number one?
I mean, I was shocked that Dallas let him go as easily as they did. I just don't know. I mean, when you look at, again, and I know you guys have had quarterback by committee here because Watson was, suspended for all those games. But I don't know if he's a guy in a big game that's going to get you 10 catches, 105 yards, 120 yards, and a touchdown, like a Justin Jefferson, like a Devontae Adams, like a Tyreek Hill.
I mean, he's had games like that this year.
Okay.
He's about to go over 1,000 yards. If it was a regular weather day, he would go over it today. I think he's had a really good year, with two different quarterbacks and kind of making that adjustment. I like him as their number one, or at least pseudo number one, right? Like, it doesn't have to be. Listen, I'm not saying their wide receiver room is finished because it's not.
Right.
Because after him and Peoples-Jones, there's a massive drop-off, right? And they've gotten really lucky that those guys have been healthy all year. Otherwise, they would have found themselves in their depth and had to play some guys that really don't belong on the field. And they got lucky that way. Now, going into next year, and they just signed Conklin to an extension yesterday. It's reported at 60 for 4, but the guaranteed money is really 31 over 2 years.
Did you like that signing?
Sort of like, listen, it's too early to judge it, right? It comes
Right.
with some risk because of his injury history, right? So it comes with some risk. He's only 28. He looks a lot older than that. So he's only 28. So you feel good about that. What they're trying to accomplish is say, like, here's our level of play on the offensive line, and we're going to maintain that for the next 2 years. They've got everybody in place for the next 2 years, that whole offensive line. So you get some good continuity there, right? And for 23 and 24. So it's kind of like an all-in 2 years, it feels like they're going for. My only thing is, like, I'm fine with it as long as you're willing to make the proper, restructures in your with contracts to go ahead and spend elsewhere where the roster really needs it. If you're doing this instead of another guy someplace else in free
It's a
agency,
problem.
then I have a problem with it. But it feels like an all-in move where they're gonna be, restructuring, kicking the can down the road on some payments, and that'll probably free up as much cap space as they want. Because really, they can get as much as they want with the Watson deal and everything else if they just turn those into signing bonuses. So, so it'll be interesting. I think you'll see them be pretty active in, getting this roster where they want it as far as win now. Win right now, I think, for the next 2 years.
All right, Brad. So break down this game. Again, I expect Kamara to rush all day, kind of like what happened last week. I don't expect, because of the win, for them to abandon the running game. So are you a little concerned with Kamara? Obviously, they have a super talented running back there, and he's had some good games this year. Break down this game. Browns, Saints in Cleveland. What's your biggest concern?
Yeah, stopping the run game of the Saints. And for me, it's not even so much Kamara as it is Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
I figure, I think I already said this, but I figure he gets his most snaps of the year at quarterback in this one, just because him running from the Wildcat gives him an additional blocker. And, he's incredibly difficult to tackle. He gets downhill fast. He lowers his shoulder. He's going to make you pay for it when you line him up. So he causes them a lot of problems, or could cause them a lot of problems if they are not prepared to stop him here, which they have struggled with the run game all year. It's been brutal. So,
yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think you hit the nail on the head here. I think Taysom Hill is tailor-made for games like this.
Yep.
He's a big, he's like a fullback. Let's be honest, playing quarterback, and you're not going to want Andy Dalton passing the ball. He doesn't have a super strong arm in the wind, so I could see Taysom Hill rushing for 70 yards today, Brad.
Yeah, me too. If not more, and throwing for some too. When they take their shots, he'll probably throw it around a little bit. But yeah, that's my concern is him running the football on the Browns for sure.
Okay, good question here too from my friend Bill. Who has more rushing yards today, Browns or Saints? And the team that has more rushing yards, do they win the game?
I think the team that makes the least amount of mistakes in this weather wins the game. So, a turnover will be critical. Dumb plays, like the Browns, 2 weeks ago, were giving a team a first down by running into a kicker blatantly, stuff like that, like dumbass plays, and critical mistakes. I think that a game like this is going to come down to 5-6 plays that turn the game. Somebody goes up and makes a special play or makes a special run. Somebody strips somebody of the ball, gets it, and goes the other way. So, defense. Running, this is not going to be for the faint of heart, right?
No.
Like, this is going to be an ugly, ugly game. Lowest spread since, 2008 or something like that. So
Yeah, and the same thing's going to happen in, obviously, Chicago against Buffalo. I think these games are going to be, if you get a field goal, it's going to have to be inside of 15 yards. There's going to be I don't care if you're Justin Tucker, because that wind's just going to sail. So I'm looking at, I just think the Browns have more to play for. I would start Taysom Hill this week if I'm the Saints, just because I don't think Andy Dalton's going to be super effective. But I'm thinking 2014, 2017, maybe 19-13, and just missed extra points because of the wind. Are you saying it's going to be low scoring?
Yeah, I had 2017 Browns,
Okay,
so I have them winning by 3. And that was high scoring for all the people that picked at the site that I work for. So a lot of people were on the 7, 10, 13, 10. So that's kind of what the feel of it is. Because, I mean, it is truly, like, it smacks you in the face if you walk outside right now, and I'm not even up in Cleveland. I'm 40 minutes south, so and that's on the water, wind chill, all that stuff. It's gonna be an all-timer and one of the coldest games up there ever. So,
I mean, Brad, I woke up this morning, I went out, and it's 45 degrees in Florida here. So I know that's not, but I'm just saying, Floridians are freaking out because it's going to be freezing here. So it's cold. It's 60% of the country right now
that's
is
not
having a
freezing.
cold front. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. All right, Brad, I want to talk about this team because obviously going in, you had the right mindset, right? Let's just try to be 500 till we get Deshaun in there, see what he could do. It's going to be a struggle the first couple of games. He's starting to come around. Where does this team, besides their defensive coordinator probably not coming back, personnel-wise, where do you see this team going? Will there be drastic changes, or are you of the mindset with a healthy Deshaun Watson, we win 11, 12 games next year?
Listen, he's not there yet, right? I think it takes him the offseason to get where he needs, like old Deshaun, right?
Right.
I don't think we will even see him this year. Maybe at the end. I don't know. But today, today takes away a lot from him, right? So he actually, ironically, he was in the last really bad weather game he played against the Browns here in Cleveland. So it was like, I forget what the final score was, like 10-6 or something like that. But yeah, brutal wins that day, and nobody threw the ball at all. But as far as like off season, they need to address defensive tackle. They'll be active, right? Like they need to get their roster a little bit older. Like they shouldn't be the youngest team in the NFL, right? Like they need to get their roster a little bit older. With some guys that have won before. Like, it's interesting this week with New Orleans coming to town. I mean, boy, do they miss, like, the leadership of a guy like Jarvis Landry in their locker room. You know what I mean? They miss that, I think, immensely. I mean, this team is not easy to like. With the, they're really good guys, are very quiet, and, so it's, with the exception of Miles and I don't know. So I think John Johnson will be let go at the end of the year. There's an out in his contract. They can save a little money there. He has not performed up to the contract that they gave him. Maybe they'll keep him. I don't know. He's played well recently. But he never has really been the guy they thought they were getting from the Rams, right? And so I think they let him go. They have operated with these safeties, and they have some talented guys back there like him and Grant Delpit and Ronnie Harrison, but they've operated back there, Monte, without a true center fielder,
right?
Free safety, and they need to get that somewhere. So that's one of the things they need to address. I think they need to add to that wide receiver room. You need to have 3 good ones and some depth, and they are not even close to that right now. So they have two good ones. I think you need to add another quality, high-end wide receiver to that room. Go ahead.
Brad, you said when he left, you said that Jarvis Landry, the entire city of Cleveland loved this guy. He was such a leader, such a great locker room guy, solid professional. So you called this, right? You said they're going to lose a great locker room guy, and that is underrated in the NFL, especially if you have a young team.
Yeah, it is underrated. You miss him. You wish somebody else would have stepped up in his place, because he was here from the bad to some of the good, right? The playoffs. Like he was through it all. The Hard Knock speech, right? It's contagious. And all that stuff. He was kind of the heart and soul of the team.
Yeah.
Now they did make the right call on him. He's only played in 9 games for that team. He has like 200 some yards, and he's on the IR for the rest of the year. Yeah. So they did make the right call there. for sure. It's just you need another guy like that that's gonna kind of take, and I think it'll ultimately be Deshaun, as we saw last week. He's kind of taking more ownership of the team and kind of barking at guys here and there to whatever. And I like to see that. So I would like to see him take kind of control of this team.
Brett, when we've seen in the stands when Deshaun goes on the road, we've seen how opposing fans treat him. You've said this numerous times, and I've never dived into it. You said this team is hard to like. Please, is it just because Deshaun Watson and the baggage that he brought over, or are there other issues that the casual fan who only watches them on Sunday when they're on national TV doesn't know about?
Yeah, I don't think it's the Deshaun thing. That is certainly for a faction of people is a reason that they won't even watch the Browns. And like to be honest, Monty, like the reception, it's at the beginning of the game and then it goes away. Really, you know what I mean? It doesn't really influence. It hasn't been as big of a deal on the road as we thought it would be for him. But when you're talking about why this team is unlikable, there's guys that you see making business decisions on the defensive side of the ball. There's guys that they've lacked an identity on the defensive side of the ball. Like you want your defense to show heart and play hard and
like San Francisco, like the Jets.
Gutsy, yeah, and never give up and make a comeback here or there. And they just haven't had that kind of. They don't have that kind of identity. They actually, I think part of it is that they lack an identity, right? And I think
you
that
punch them in the face. They don't have resolve. They don't have fight.
Exactly, and that's why to me they are unlikable because they haven't really given you a reason to really love them. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And listen, it's not easy. I know this watching the Jets. It's not easy, and I'll get to this at the end of the show, when you're constantly having, you're not sure about the quarterback play. I mean, just think about this. Deshaun Watson, we knew was going to come back. Jacoby Brissett played better than I thought he would. But something like the Jets, where a second-round pick now in Zach Wilson is being benched for a guy who was in the CFL. Like, this is the third or fourth time your second-round pick. Someone said it, and I agree with them, that this is now what we're seeing with Trevor Lawrence and what we're seeing with Zach Wilson. And I know it's high praise. Trevor Lawrence is not Peyton Manning. But if you compare the two right now early on, Trevor Lawrence is way ahead. Peyton Manning was horrible his first 4 years in throwing interceptions. Zach Wilson has become Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, it is turning into a Ryan Leaf deal.
He was
for
picked
sure.
second, Brad. I mean,
it's a great comp, and listen, he's not helping himself, but like to your point, where at one point I thought I saw like a glimpse of hope, like it's hard to find those glimpses anymore. It really is. I mean, he did himself no favors. Them going to Strevler the other night, and how the offense immediately responded to having him in there running, the freaking wishbone. Is crazy, right? So, not good for him. I don't know how they're gonna proceed. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, Brad, I think, when you talk about teams, you talk about this picture right here, to me, really captures what a young quarterback who has no talent around him is going through. You have the Buffalo Bills defensive weapons, offensive weapons, and you have a second-year quarterback who's playing for a defensive-minded coach. Talk about these young quarterbacks. If you had to do the draft all over again, would it be Trevor Lawrence and then Justin Fields? Is that a no-brainer?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I like Trey Lance, but I thought Trey Lance going to a bad team would be great for him because he was raw and he had to learn. But now that he's injured, I mean, it's really 1 and 2. It's really Trevor Lawrence and then Justin Fields, who's played tremendously.
Yeah. How many teams passed on Fields? What did he go again? I forget.
I'll tell you who passed on Fields. My New York Jets, because I wanted them to take him. So
Yeah.
no, they moved up in the draft. I think he go ninth in
Yeah.
the draft or
Yeah.
11th.
So a number of teams passed on him, and listen, there are a lot of people kicking themselves. The same thing happened with Josh Allen, right? So it's
Yeah, he went
it's interesting.
11th. He went
Yeah.
11th. Yeah, so 10 teams.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people at the time were like, "Hey, this doesn't make sense. Why these guys are going ahead of Justin Fields? Like, I've watched him play. This guy, he's a big guy that can throw the ball. He's a natural leader." And I think a lot of people were like, "Yeah, this doesn't really make sense." But sure, whatever you saw at the combine or the tape, whatever.
Yeah.
And it has, as it always does, fleshed itself out on the field, and there's a huge difference between those two and the rest of that class by far.
Yeah, and Brad, if I say this, am I crazy? If I say I'm taking one quarterback right now with 2 minutes left in the game, or not even that, because it's the whole game that I'm going to take one guy on the road to win a playoff game. Am I crazy for saying that I would take Joe Burrow over anyone in the NFL?
Yes, I think you're crazy for that.
I mean, Brad, the guy went to a Super Bowl last year with one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. What this guy is doing, he was out. Look at what, we brought this up on Monday. You look at what Patrick Mahomes has done without Tyreek Hill. You look at what Aaron Rodgers had, 10 interceptions, lost without Devontae Adams. He was without Jamar Chase for weeks, and he didn't miss a beat.
Well, yeah, so the only reason I think you're crazy is because you have Patrick Mahomes available to you. I don't see how you could choose anybody else but him. But that's the only reason I would say you're crazy for that. Okay. Other than that, I don't really have a problem with it, just because Mahomes is better than him, in my opinion.
Okay, but you do realize he's beaten Mahomes 3 straight times.
I do, and that's a weird quirk thing, and we'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll see each other in the playoffs again, potentially, right? So we'll see what happens there. And I know that just because one team beats another isn't a complete quarterback versus quarterback show.
No,
right?
That's fair.
It's not.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Okay, Brad. The Browns, you've been saying this all year. Is there any conceivable way you see them making the playoffs?
So, kind of. It's very minimal, right? So there's there's a chart of 7 things that have to happen, or there's a chart of 7 things, right? And one of them is an or, and then. That's one. So that or that, and then 6 other things. Now, 3 of those things are teams going 0-3. With the Jets losing on Thursday night, which helped, it is actually, to me, it looks like the first 4 things on those lists
are going to happen.
Could very well happen, or are likely to happen, right? And then you have, to get to that 5th thing, you have to get one of these teams to go 0-3. So That's difficult, but not impossible. So
are you watching this game with more passion because, oh man, we're still alive in the playoffs? Or are you still like, okay, I'm not believing?
Listen, I don't expect any kind of a miracle here, right?
Okay.
But today I will be watching the game because it's going to be interesting how it's played with the weather, right? Like, I'll be watching it to see how they adapt, adjust. How does the defense stop the run? Because, Greg Roman bailed them out last week by stopping running at him. Will Joe Woods be able to stop the run at all? Not that it even makes a difference, because he should be fired at the end of the year anyways, so I don't even know why that matters. So I guess I won't really be watching that. I'll be looking at individual play, right? Who actually gives a damn still out there? Those are the guys that you want on your team going forward. Right. So, who isn't looking towards the Mexico trip, right?
All right, Brad, we got about 5 minutes left. Want to talk about the NBA here. Again, I'm going to post this one more time. I post videos, and a lot of times when I do it now, by the way, follow me on Facebook Reels, Monte Perez. Follow me on TikTok. I'm telling Brad, I was telling Amarie, in the last 2 weeks, I just started doing Facebook Reels. I have over 3 million views. It's insane. But what I post videos, and sometimes I'll re-record it. I'll edit it. But when it's the end of the game, I do it live, and then I post it so you get my honest reaction. Everyone keeps telling me, because the Knicks won 8 in a row, 9 out of whatever the hell it was, oh, Monty, Tom Thibodeau knows what he's doing. No, he doesn't. Okay? Brad, I want you to watch this. This is my live take. And to have proof, I talked to my friend Andrea on the phone during the timeout, and I said, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is 100% a live take, and this just goes to show you how bad of a head coach Tom Thibodeau is, who made his bones as a defensive coach, and watch what happened.
They get a stomp, watch DeRozan, mid-range game, watch him pump faking and getting a foul. Dude, how does DeRozan get the ball that easy? DeRozan, he's going to pull up for the mid-range. Come on, and they fouled him. Come on, Thibodeau. If I called this play, I've seen the Bulls run this play for DeRozan a million times down the stretch. How does he not take the ball out of his hands, and how do you foul him? Wow. I mean, look, DeRozan's not going to shoot the three. That's his game, mid-range.
That is DeRozan's whole game. Get the ball at the top of the key, take 2 dribbles to the elbow, shoot a jump shot. How do you let the best player on that team get the ball, don't double team him, and they score literally with no effort whatsoever if you're the Knicks? If I saw it coming, how does Thibodeau not see that coming?
Yeah, the question is, how do you want to handle that, right, in the NBA? So do you want to run? Do you want to blitz him when he gets the ball?
I want to take the ball out of his hands, because here's the thing.
But how do you want to do that?
I want to deny him the ball. Don't put anyone on the inbounder and deny him the ball. I just saw this last night at the end of the New Orleans Oklahoma City Thunder game in regulation. They denied the ball to Shea Alexander. He doesn't get a touch. Someone else shoots it. They miss. They go to overtime. They lose. Brad, I had a simple rule of coaching. Last minute of the game, your best wide receiver, your best scorer is not going to beat me. I've never lost a game at the buzzer for the best player. I've lost games where the best player found an open guy and that guy shot it. Don't let your best player beat you. It's simple.
In the NBA, it's a little different, I think. So I would say that, a lot of times if you enter, you can deny the ball, sure. But they throw the ball into a big guy, and then they can basically stand there, and the guy can come and they can just hand the ball to the dude. I mean, that's what they'll do, right?
But Brad, everything you're saying is 100% accurate. But they didn't show any resistance, and Tom Thibodeau is supposed to be a defensive. That was I called that shot before the inbound play.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That I definitely would have ran at least another guy at him. You attempt to deny him the ball if he gets it. Run the guy at him to make him give it up and make somebody else beat you. I totally agree with that. But you have to do it. It's easier said than done. But you're right. As an NBA head coach, that's their job to figure out. Yeah. So I agree with you. It's poor coaching.
Okay, Brad, I love this team. Fun to watch. I really like how Mobley has gotten better. He's mature. He looks more confident. He's gained some muscle. What does this team need? I like to see them get another small forward who can score. Now, maybe trade for Lonnie Walker the fourth on the Lakers. Do something. I want to see their small forward have 15 to 17 points a night.
Yeah, I think they need more shooting, right? I think they need another 3-and-D guy, or just a long two that can guard and shoot. So, I know that makes it doesn't have to be a high profile guy, but it's somebody that keeps you honest, because he'll make 40% of his threes, right? So I think that's what they are missing from this team, because Okoro isn't that, and although he's been very good lately with his defense and everything else that he does for the team, he is not that, and they don't really have anybody that is that. LeVert is kind of playing out of position, and he's more of a slasher at times. So,
I wouldn't say he's a legitimate. Although he played phenomenal in the bubble. Remember the bubble? He played great. So you're looking for one more shooter, right?
I think they need one piece, and I would feel good about their run moving forward.
And Rubio, what's the status with him?
He's healthy, I believe. They're just conditioning him, I think. He's close to coming back. So, cool thing there with, Donovan Mitchell spent a lot of time with Rubio, or some time, right? And they are very close. And I guess, he was talking the other day and made the comments about how much he owes to Rubio about when he first came in the league and the things that he taught him. So very excited about him coming back, and as Mitchell is. And gosh, he's so much fun to watch. Donovan Mitchell is.
Really is.
He really has him and Garland have been fantastic. Mobley's been great. Allen has been really good. And when they are playing together, they can beat anybody. So,
Brad, you bring up Rubio. It's amazing. When he came into the league, there was such fanfare, and people will say that he was disappointing with his career. I look at him and I'm like, this guy's a professional. Everywhere he goes, players love the guy. He's learned how to shoot better. Rubio coming to the Cavs healthy after the new year is just as good as any trade you're going to make.
It is. It gives them a nice boost. It makes them deeper. Absolutely. Totally agree with you there. That kind of replaces a move that you might need to make, right? For depth, and it doesn't replace the wing we were talking about, but it replaces potentially another move. Last year, in the year before, he was playing the best ball of his career, right? Scoring, finally scoring, having big 30-point games here and there. The assist numbers out of this world. An unfortunate injury last year really kind of derailed the Cavs season. So it'll be interesting. He'll be obviously playing a much different role than he did last year, because they are better and deeper now than they were last season, where he was playing 30 minutes a night. I don't think he'll be in that kind of a role, but it should be interesting, and he will certainly add a leadership element to this too.
One of the things you mentioned about the Cavs, and then we'll let you go because we know you have another show to do. One of the things you mentioned about the Browns, is that they lost some leadership. With Rubio and Love, you can have two more solid NBA professionals, guys who are going to come in, contribute, and they accept and love their role.
Yeah, they're very fortunate to have a guy like Kevin Love accept his role of some nights he plays 15 minutes, right?
Yep.
He's totally fine with it, and he's a leader on the bench and another set of eyes for the coaching staff, and same with Rubio, right? So they're very fortunate, as you said, to have guys that are cool with that role. They're at that point of their career, and they're all about the team and winning. And that, that kind of attitude is, as Jarvis would say, contagious, right?
Yeah.
So it is contagious, and it goes around the team. And this team is very, as unlikable as the Browns are right now, the Browns are as likable in the other way.
Yeah,
they
the Cavs are a very likable team, and this guy and Kevin Love, you root for them. All right, Brad, so you have another show to do right now. Where are you going? What are you doing?
Going to do the OBR pregame show for the Browns game at 1. It's on Twitch and YouTube at the OBR, the Orange and Brown Report. I did an article this week on the curious case of Cade York, the kicker in Cleveland. He has had quite a first year. Yes. And some ridiculous quotes coming out this week about him blanking out and not knowing what he's doing when he was out on the field when he shanked a couple of them. So
someone said a few weeks ago that Aaron Rodgers, he admitted that he might have taken some supplements or some illegal things when he was playing quarterback at one time. And when someone says they blanked out, how do you take that as a fan?
Yeah, it's hard to take, especially when he said he blanked out. I forgot what I was doing, and that's not great for a kicker, Monty. That doesn't bode well.
All right, Brad, thanks so much. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Really appreciate the time.
Merry Christmas to you, Monty, and all your loved ones and everybody. Greg, I think it's just Greg right now, but Greg, to you and your family and everybody that watches this. So I appreciate you guys. MBS has been so kind and so good to me. So thank you all so much.
Yeah, I knew a lot of people that say they're going to have it on in the background. They won't be talking in the chat. This is a hard time to do a show, but I just wanted to get our voice out there. People are running around shopping, listening on their phones or wherever they can. So, Brad, I appreciate the time, and I appreciate anyone who's joining in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Monty, have a fantastic holiday, brother. I'll talk to you on the other side.
We'll see you down the road. Thanks, Brad. Take care.
Bye.
Brad Ward does a great job, as always. Amarie was supposed to join us. She's kind of running around, so we'll get her on next week. No worries. All right, real quick, we're going to start with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not really start with it. We're actually going to finish with the good, the bad, and the funny. The good, the bad, and the funny. All right, let's start with the good. The Mets traded away their Mr. Double Play, James McCann. Listen, the Mets are making all the right moves. The Mets are making all the right moves. They just signed Carlos Correa, 12 years, $350 million lineup. Let's $350 million contract. Let's look at this Mets lineup right now. Okay, let's look. You have Brandon Nimmo leading off, right? Brandon Nimmo. Then you have Francisco Lindor, Jeff McNeil, who led the National League in batting average last year. Pete Alonso, even on a bad year, is going to hit 35 home runs. He's going to drive in 100 RBIs. The Mets lineup right now with Carlos Correa, with Pete Alonso, with Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Sterling Marte, and let's not forget Francisco Alvarez, who is the Mets' #1 prospect in all of baseball. Let me repeat that. This isn't the Mets ranking this. This is Major League Baseball ranking minor league prospects. He came up last year after being injured at the end of the season. This guy, they're comparing his bat to Mike Piazza. And with the DH now, he does not have to catch 120 games. He can catch 100 games and still be effective. This Mets lineup is solid now if you have Mark Canha batting 9th. Remember last year, Mets 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters were automatic outs. But this lineup is stacked. And look, their rotation right now, I know it's old, but Carlos Carrasco as a 5th starter can win you 15 games. Verlander won the Cy Young. Scherzer was healthy most of the year. People don't realize that the Mets won 90 games last year without Jacob deGrom. The Mets won 90 games last year without Jacob deGrom. So all you Met haters out there, are they going to win the World Series? Maybe not. But they're going to win 100 games and make the playoffs. And it's nice. It's nice as a Met fan to not get outbid by the Yankees, by the Dodgers, by the Red Sox. So cheers to the Mets management who've done a hell of a job in building this team. Cheers to them. Okay, now let's get to the bad. I'm seeing all over social media now people saying Zach Wilson is a bust. Where were you 2 years ago, media? Do your job. In no way, shape, or form did I ever think, watching Zach Wilson on tape, that this guy was going to be a franchise quarterback. He just got benched for, let's be honest, a 4th-string guy who Greg noted didn't even start in the CFL. And this is so frustrating because the Jets are a good team. They have good running backs, good wide receivers, good tight ends. Their defense is good. By the way, Kirk Herbstreit, what the hell are you talking about? He was killing the Jets defense all night long. They gave up 19 points to Trevor Lawrence and one of the youngest, most talented offenses on the rise. Remember, Jacksonville scored 40 points against the Dallas Cowboys, who many think, other than San Francisco, has the fastest defense in the league. So Kirk Herbstreit, stop. What are you doing? Zach Wilson has been horrible. I called it from day one. The entire media was wrong about this kid. The entire media was wrong about this kid. Okay? You do not go to Team MBS and college football analysts like Greg, Jeff Barnes, Bill Carroll. You do not earn a top 5 pick based on a pro day. You can't just throw all the film and game tape that you have. Media, you are 100% wrong about Zach Wilson. And I'm so sick of people coming on now and being, I say this all the time. This isn't about picking a game where Dallas plays the Eagles today. You have a 50-50 chance of winning and losing. This is looking at tape, film, and evaluating. And all the guys who said that this is a no-brainer for the Jets, you were dead wrong, man. You were dead wrong. Now, look, I've missed on quarterbacks based on his college and his athleticism and what he could do. I thought Marcus Mariota was going to be a good quarterback. He's had a better career. He's won a playoff game, and he's been NFL Player of the Week, I think, 4 times in his career, Marcus Mariota. So was Marcus Mariota a number 2 pick worthy of it? No. But he's certainly better than Zach Wilson. I also said Justin Fields would be a good pro. I said Trevor Lawrence would be a good pro. I said Justin Herbert, along with Greg, would be the best quarterback in that draft. I thought that people were crazy taking Mitchell Trubisky ahead of Deshaun Watson. I thought the Bears were insane to do that. And its simple reasoning is they both played in the same conference. And I showed Deshaun Watson 2 years in a row. They lost once to Alabama, and then they beat him his last year in the national championship game. I saw Deshaun Watson be the best player on the field 2 years in a row against Nick Saban, who's a defensive genius and had over a month to prepare for him and couldn't stop him. So if you took Mitchell Trubisky, who played at North Carolina, you saw Mitchell Trubisky and Deshaun Watson play the exact same competition, and you're the Bears and you thought Trubisky was a better option, there's a reason why you're not coaching or making decisions for a football team anymore. The Jets whiffed on this guy. They need to draft a quarterback. I've changed my mind. I don't want to see Derek Carr here. I don't want to see Jimmy G here. I want the Jets to draft a franchise quarterback this year and rid themselves of the Zach Wilson virus. And don't kid yourself, it is a virus, because when a 4th-string quarterback came to play, the fans went nuts. And like Brad said, he basically ran the wishbone. Okay, finally, that's the good. That's the bad. Now let's get to the funny. So you think you're a diehard fan, right? You think that, you are a loyal fan. Well, you're really not loyal, because I want to explain to you what happened to this Chiefs fan. I want to explain to you what happened to Kansas City superfan has been arrested for armed bank robbery. The man Xavier Michael Babdar was arrested at 10:15 local time for robbing a bank. According to social media accounts, the man, who is known as Chiefsaholic, wears a Kansas City Wolf costume to every sporting event, and he's been booked by local radio stations, local TV shows. He's kind of Kansas City's version of a fireman Ed for the Jets. It was beyond annoying, but that's a whole other issue. But he robbed the bank, and the thing is, he robbed the bank with his mask on. And he was doing this so he could go to the Chiefs games and live as a super fan. He robbed the bank with his mask on. What do we say all the time? What do we say all the time? We have the stupidest criminals in the world. So, super fan, this is him. He's known all over Kansas City, goes to local events. They hire him, robs a bank with his Kansas City Chiefs Wolf mask. Yeah. And finally, so we just heard, we were talking about the Jets. Jets wide receiver coach Miles Austin is being suspended for at least 1 year after violating the NFL gambling policy. Now, this hits home to me. Why does this hit home? Miles Austin played basketball as a freshman, and I was recruiting a senior at Garfield High School in New Jersey. Now, it was apparent that Miles Austin, even at a young age, his freshman year, was a phenomenal athlete. So I would go recruit, and I would have talked to him because I'd watch him play varsity JV as a freshman. He was a super talented athlete, real humble, real nice. But every time I saw him, because I'd go back years after, I stopped recruiting him because everyone knew he was going to play football. The nicest kid in the world. And I saw him as a freshman really be like a shy, humble, nice kid. And then as he got older, and I would go back to high school, hey, Coach Mont, how you doing? To a confident stud of an athlete. So this really bothers me because even though he knew that he was going to play football, he was always so respectful for me. Oh, you could tell that he was not a troubled kid, just a hard worker, humble from his upbringing. So to see him being suspended here after he got done playing, remember he played with the Cowboys for a few years and really, really had a good career as an NFL wide receiver. To see him, be suspended for a year, I was kind of rooting for him to eventually maybe one day become a head coach because I knew him as a kid and as a young man, and he was always so humble. He's always so gracious to me and just a super nice person. I hate to see this. So I hope if he does have a problem, he does get, some help for it. And this is just a shame because the NFL really tolerates a lot. They will tolerate you beating your wife. They will tolerate you driving drunk. They'll they'll tolerate a lot. The one thing they do not tolerate is they do not tolerate gambling. So hopefully this is a one-off and he gets another opportunity because from what I knew of him, he was a very good person. Okay, I want to thank Brad Ward. I want to thank everyone. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the games today. Enjoy the games tomorrow. And remember, no matter how bad your life is, there's always one thing that you should be thankful for. So I'm thankful for my family, my friends, and thankful for you. In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.